This could be a letter Maya would write, literally.
Yeah.
I mean, the character it encompasses all the feelings the character is feeling, and the dysfunction of the family, the expectations, the pressures on her. I think what you were talking about when you're as a star, how visible and public your struggles are. I think a lot of people, even the common average person, have the same struggles. I think yours are just more amplified. So
It's amplified. I mean, and for example, I mean, to me,
Pooja, my praise.
to me, it never bothered me whether I mean, I never took myself seriously on the basis of a film being a hit. So I didn't take myself unseriously when my film was a flop. I mean, how I looked didn't matter. I mean, it was. I mean, I discovered through the world that apparently I was an attractive woman. I didn't feel that attractive growing up. But what amazes me is at the age of 45, I sometimes bump into people in an elevator who've seen Dil Hai Ke Manta Nahi when I was 19 and they were 19. And they meet me and obviously seeing me triggers of some kind of adolescent kind of feeling that they've had when they've held their girlfriend or boyfriend's hand in that theater for the first time. And then they look at me and they're like, आप तो बहुत बदल गए. तो मैं बोलती हूँ कि आप भी बदले होंगे अगर आप ही उस उम्र के थे. हाँ हम तो बदले मगर आप कैसे बदले? So I'm like, that was your fantasy, this is life, deal with it, you know what I mean? So anybody who was probably took themselves very seriously on the basis of how they looked only would have probably been a basket case. But when people ask me, I mean, for example, I celebrate each stretch mark or each line that appears in my face, but that's life imprinting its kind of mark on me. But that's the way I think, and I'm not against anybody who decides to go for surgery. But I'm just saying is that this is what you're dealing with constantly. So you need to know who you are if you want to be. That's why they say showbiz is not for sissies to begin with.
Anurit, and I'm sure our panelists agree and friends from the media as well agree, we hear a lot of cases of depression nowadays. Was it always existent? Or is it because of social media or so much of hype around that we get to hear about it more? Is there genuinely an onslaught of a lot of depression happening around us?
Depression is definitely on a rise. There are many factors responsible for it, really. Of course, like my panelists have rightly said, even Pooja did make a mention, we all are becoming more and more lonely as time is going by. We are very sure that we want to be on Facebook, on Instagram, we want to make posts, but we are losing a connect. Our interpersonal connections are becoming poorer. Our support systems are reducing. We lived earlier in joint families. I'm not saying that joint families were very ideal. There were a lot of conflicts even at that time. However, in a larger setup, you could find somebody whom you could connect with, who could sort out certain problems which were daily problems and which now may become bigger ones because you can't share it with anybody. In the nuclear setup, parents are all very busy. They all are working. They are not at home. Children are being taken care of by caretakers. The media world is taking us into a lonely world where we rather be on our screen than be with others. If given a preference, what do you want to do? You're tired after work. If given a chance to go out, you'd say, I'd rather sit back home and watch something on the TV or be on my laptop. So what happens in that? A disconnect is happening. So emotions are something that we all have. Feelings. We're born with feelings, like the girls are saying over here. We start feeling from the day we are born. Do we even recognize our feelings? It is very important that we recognize that we have a problem coming up. We are not feeling our normal self. So now what is happening is, in the earlier times, if you were not normal or not feeling normal, there were other people around you in your network who would come to know that. They would recognize that this person's a big extrovert or would talk too much, is not interacting. But in today's time, nobody has the time to see that. So that is why even when I was watching The Valley, it is the father asks the friend that, was there anything about Maya which was different? Was she, and of course there's a mention of her being a very subtle and a sensitive girl. So when a person is, we all are sensitive.